Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, Africa. Hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, hey ya, Africa. 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 From the darkness.
Ubarigani!
Kujikakulia! Is that great? I've done my best. I've been practicing to make sure that I've got the greeting. And what we're saying is Happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah, happy Kwanzaa, guys.
We have a Happy Kwanzaa extended to all of you. And this is a Kwanzaa celebration. Introducing you to Kwanzaa, its principles.
Yes, absolutely. Its meanings, yeah.
And also the reason why, a little bit of its history. People who involve themselves in Kwanzaa, people who also dance and poetry, and we've got
song, drumming, everything.
Storytelling.
Everything. It's a real celebration.
It is a real celebration, and it is. Well, why did we say that? Why was that greeting given? What were you talking about?
Well, that greeting was a typical Kwanzaa traditional greeting. So that's how you would greet somebody during the Kwanzaa festival. So that's why I said it.
And my reply was the second day.
Yes. I believe it was, yes.
Yeah, that's the self-determination.
Self-determination, yes, yeah.
Today is the second day of Kwanzaa. It starts on the 26th. I'm not going to go on. You can get more information about this.
Exactly, yes. It's a week-long celebration. It's fantastic. So there's so much to do, so much to get into, and I'm happy to be here co-hosting with Shida, and I'm KG. So,
thank you very much, KG.
I get my introduction out there.
Today, yes, I'd like to introduce to you KG. And KG has been with us before. He's a poet amongst many other things, and you may have heard obviously the interest that you have. Today, we are most definitely celebrating all of our talents, all that we bring to you. And thank you so much for the past 6 months of you being there with us. Starting, as you know, I see you, you see me. Started with the gift and the life and the effervescent joy that was given to us through the passing of George Floyd. And I say that from that movement and from that, it was really quite a passion.
Absolutely.
That we felt that we had to put on such a show for you, an event. And each month, we hope that you thoroughly enjoyed it. And we thank you very much. We thank you for all your donations. Do not stop giving to Ko-fi. That's coffee, coffee.com. I see you, you see me. We're very, very grateful. Where would you see, where would you meet, where would you have such entertainment, such vibrancy, and more importantly, such a show such as ours. So we do appreciate that.
We do, and where would you have such fantastic hosts? I mean, I'm a good host. I'm not sure about Sheeda, but I'm a fantastic host.
It's not all about that.
But no, I mean, it's really important to give as much as you can when you can, because we are, you know, a fledgling organisation. We're trying to build ourselves up, and we really need that community support. So thank you so much for continuing to do that. We appreciate it.
Thank you. So let us start, and we're going to meet someone who we're very grateful to have as a part of our show. And this gentleman, we've got an interview that, in fact, and thank you very much, and was met by KG and Bevis Gooden. So let's roll. Let's have a look.
Yeah, absolutely.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Hey guys, I'm KG, and I'm going to be co-hosting with Sheeda for ICU UK this very special edition of Kwanzaa. So we're going to be talking to Bevis Gooden, who's the guy that knows all things Kwanzaa related. So stay tuned, it's going to be a great interview. So Bevis, how are you doing?
I'm very good indeed, sir. And yourself, sir?
I'm very well, thank you. Among other things, you are a very busy individual. You are a founding member, one of the founding members of the Kwanzaa Network UK. You are one of the founding members of the Luton Black Men Community Groups. You are a member of the 100 Black Men of London, and you're also one of the founders of the African Heritage Network. So you're really busy. How do you find the time to fit all of that in?
Amongst everything, when you have a love for these things, you find the time.
Okay,
That's how I
great.
do it.
So let's get straight into the interview, because I'm excited to know a lot more about Kwanzaa. What is Kwanzaa and when is it?
Kwanzaa is a celebration of African heritage culture, celebrated by the African heritage people in the diaspora, and also it starts on the 26th of December and goes through for 7 days of celebration until the 1st of January.
Now, I know the 7 principles of Kwanzaa is known as Nguzo Saba. So tell us a little bit more about the 7 principles and what they mean.
Okay, yes, as you've stated, there are 7 principles which are observed for Kwanzaa, and the first of which is Umoja. Umoja means unity. The second is Kujichagulia, which means self-determination. Then you have Ujima, which is collective work and responsibility. Ujama, which is cooperative economics. Nia, which is purpose. Kuumba, which is creativity. And Imani, which means faith.
Right, okay. I mean, all those things are quite integral within our community anyway, so
Yes.
it kind of all makes sense.
They are universal principles.
Right. Why is it important that Kwanzaa is a family-orientated and community-shared experience?
Well, Kwanzaa is a celebration of the harvest festival, but we are focusing on Kwanzaa in relation to the family, especially the young one, the children. We actually have, they play a very important part in Kwanzaa. We actually have an item on the actual Kwanzaa shrine for the children, which is the ear of corn, ear of corn for children. So children are important because they are the future. Without them, we don't exist.
Absolutely. How would you encourage young children and young people to get involved in Kwanzaa?
We can really encourage children to get in with Kwanzaa by immersing them in Kwanzaa. So the family must show them what Kwanzaa is. Get them involved in activities around Kwanzaa, building the shrine, lighting of the candles on the Kanara, going to Kwanzaa events, maybe doing some drawings, some games and activities around Kwanzaa, and joining in with the celebration of Kwanzaa.
The film title is interesting, The Black Candle. So what I'd like to talk to you about briefly are the meanings of the candles. I understand that the candelabra is known as the Kanara, so talk to us a bit about that.
Well, throughout Kwanzaa as a celebration, there are 3 colours, red, black and green. The black represents our people, the red represents our blood, and the green is for the beauty of the land. There's only one black candle, which is for Moja, and that represents our people, and then you light each of the candles in turn for each one of the days, which represents each one of the principles of Kwanzaa.
After watching the film The Black Candle, I found it very interesting and fascinating, and I'd like to know from your perspective, what's the importance of having a documentary like The Black Candle?
It's very important because it enables people to learn about Kwanzaa, to find out about where it originated from and where we can take it to, because they also mention things about celebrating Kwanzaa in the summer, not just at the end of the year. So it gives us pointers on various things that we could be doing in terms of observing Kwanzaa.
Right, okay. Yes, I mean, absolutely. And of course, the African American founder is Dr. Karenga, and it was, I think he founded it in 1966. So, in terms of, Kwanzaa being in the UK, what would you say are your thoughts in relation to that?
Okay, Kwanzaa in the UK started around the 1970s, and it's been growing from strength to strength. And so now we actually have a number of different different number of different organisations which celebrate Kwanzaa at the end of the year, and it's always growing in number every year in various parts of the country across the UK.
Which is really good, it's important. What is the one thing you'd like people from the wider community who know nothing about Kwanzaa to know about Kwanzaa? So what would you leave with them as one thing to remember?
To consider the unified aspects of Kwanzaa, because one of the problems that we often talk about is the unity in the community.
Yeah.
Kwanzaa is a very good vehicle for enabling us to come together, and especially for our children to see.
Absolutely. What's the strangest thing you've heard, read or seen about Kwanzaa?
The strangest thing I've heard about Kwanzaa is that people say that it's a made-up holiday, but the reality of life is, as human beings, most things that we do are actually man-made.
Yeah, absolutely. What should people do if they want to know more about Kwanzaa and celebrate it?
Okay, what they can do, they can watch the DVD. There's some information on that DVD, which is the Black Candle documentary. They can actually speak to other people who observe Kwanzaa. They can research it by Googling it or go to the search engine to find out more about it, or they can go to events and observe others celebrating Kwanzaa.
Right, okay. And what will you be doing throughout this Kwanzaa period, personally?
I will be attending as many different Kwanzaa celebrations as I normally do each year. I also celebrate go to Kwanzaa celebrations on the African continent in the Gambia, and so I will do so this year also.
Well, it's interesting because I was speaking to you earlier about the Gambia, and I wanted to know the connection between Kwanzaa and the Gambia.
Well, Kwanzaa has actually gone full circle, and people on the African continent now are celebrating Kwanzaa. It's not in place of their own harvest festivals, but just an observance of what we are doing as the African diaspora, and around the time of the end of the year.
Right, okay. I'm also watching a film that was interesting because James Baldwin made a quote as well about people feeling very displaced, and there were clips about people from France, of African heritage, who celebrate Kwanzaa. There was one particular guy who was teaching kids about the Kwanzaa and teaching them about, mothers of mothers from generations past, fathers of fathers from generations past. So how important is it that we kind of go really as far back as we can for young people to know about Kwanzaa?
Well, as you know, many of the people in diaspora, we can't really track our heritage back more than, say, 3 or 4, maybe 5 generations. Right. And so it is very important that we have something to cement our family around, so it becomes the cornerstone of our existence, and it gives us strength. It resonates, especially with the children, and it gives us hope for the future.
Fantastic, brilliant. How can people get in touch with you?
Okay, what they can do, they can search for our organisation online, and we can find us through the search engines. We're also on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter, yes, and also you can search. That's the way you can do it.
Okay, great. So all social media outlets.
Social media.
Well, Bevis, has been really interesting. Are there any final thoughts that you have before we wrap up?
What I'd like to encourage people to do is just to find out more about Kwanzaa, and once they've done that, tell somebody else.
Right, okay. Well, I mean, you've told me because I know a lot more. I'm a lot more educated now about Kwanzaa, and I think I may try to include it in what I do moving forward, because it really is about community spirit, it's about unity and engagement, and that's really important. Bevis Gooden from the Kwanzaa Network UK and the African Heritage Network of Luton, thank you so much for speaking to me today on behalf of ICUC Me and myself. Really appreciate it. Thanks.
Wow, thank
It
you.
was brilliant.
What was it like meeting?
It was really good meeting him. He's so much
Mhm.
knowledge. He talks so much about Kwanzaa. He's very passionate about it, and he has a lot to do this time of the year.
Very busy,
Very busy guy in charge of lots of different groups.
of course.
So it's nice to actually pin him down, get an interview, and have him record it.
So much
Brilliant.
information.
So much information, and so much more as well.
And even so, you consider the organisation that he represents.
Yes, absolutely, really important.
And I'm thinking, as you said, it came into England, Britain, so to speak,
Yeah,
1970s. So from the time, obviously, when it started in 1966.
1966. Yeah, by
65.
Dr. Karenga. That's how
That's
it's
it.
founded in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
And 1966 is a very important year for Clive, isn't it, Clive? Clive Lester. So anyway, yeah. So Kwanzaa is something that's really really important,
Right.
and it's important that we celebrate, not just celebrate from a kind of traditional aspect, but also celebrate from the cultural meaning of Kwanzaa.
Right.
That's important as well.
Okay, good. And I'm pleased to hear that from 1965, when that decision and such an uprising, and again, it's from an event that people are stirred to make action or to do action, and today being part of that self-determination. Each day has a meaning, and as we go through, obviously, our show and the event itself, you can find. Oh, and what I do want to show is
The Kinara.
Look what we have
The
here.
candles of Kwanzaa. Very important. Very
There we
important.
go.
So basically, I don't know if you guys know what the meanings are, but the most important candle is the black candle,
That's the
and
unity.
that's unity. That's the power of people. That's
Okay.
us.
And as
And
you
then,
said,
the red represents the noble blood of the ancestry from Africa,
there we go.
and then the green represents the noble earth of Africa. So it's all really important to tie in with our ancestry as well.
Oh, I love
It's
it. Thank you.
fantastic Kanara as well.
Yeah. And
Really
then
nice.
the other thing, well, we're going to find out more about that. And someone who actually lives, without further ado, I would like to introduce someone to you. And we're going to speak to a lovely lady by the name of Liz Small. And there's a lot to be spoken about that. So I'm going to say thank you very much for now. From that point of view, we're going to speak with Liz. Liz is going to come on and let's talk with her. Liz, are you there? Liz Small?
I'm here. Hello, can you hear me?
Hi Liz, how you doing?
I'm very well, thanks. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for inviting me. I'm very pleased to be here.
Now, Liz, there's a lot to obviously talk about and find out about it. Besides, obviously, being a cultural consultant,
Yeah.
and also doing ancestral tours. And by that, I mean you show people buildings, obviously, and in concerns to just how they're. Well, you explain that little bit for me, please.
Yes, my name's Liz. I'm a cultural consultant and a tour guide. So in regards to a cultural consultant, I go into schools and I look at how the school represents the children and young people that attend the school. So if we're looking at Greek history or African history, is to ensure that in particular African history doesn't start from enslavement, or they don't have encyclopedia books in a library where they've got Africa and Egypt, indicating that Egypt is a complete different country outside of the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
So I sit down with the head teachers and discuss how these images have a negative influence on children and young people, and creates confusion to white young people as well. My tour,
That's so very interesting.
Thank you. My tours look at African ancient symbolic symbols on British buildings. I'm researching and doing a book at the moment, looking at the Sankofa, looking at the Ankh, and why they are on these buildings in the in the UK. But I've narrowed it down to southwestern Wales because London's rammed with these Dinka symbols. In the past, I would do tours on enslavement. I put that to rest for now because there's so much of our history that's not explored, and that needs to be in a proper continuum, timeline. So I'm now looking at African symbols and why it's on these buildings. What do these buildings mean? Where do these symbols come from? Yeah.
Right. I also understand from the information, it's the same as looking at a building and wondering why it's got like sometimes you see googles and sometimes you see certain things.
Yeah, gargoyles and yeah.
Moving on. What I would really like to talk about, what we are going to find out, is, by my understanding, you actually practice Kwanzaa as a way of life. And Why is that? What stirred you to actually make that action?
It's recognizing the suffering of my ancestors and recognizing the lifestyle or the life that they had before enslavement. It's looking at the gaps in history, and I find that the Nguzu Saba, the 7 principles of Kwanzaa, enables me to really put things into place. And by me living the Nguzu Saba is honoring my ancestors and recognizing the creator, but honoring my ancestors in respect of that. So it's not just word service, it's action. I like to put my actions into force rather than just talking and teaching and preaching about it. I like to live it. And it's psychologically and culturally, it helps me to be more healthy culturally. So I focus on race first in terms of my psychological and mental and cultural health. And that's the main reason I live by the Nguzu Saba daily.
Thank you.
That's really interesting, actually. And Lisa, I wanted to ask you, you know, before you actually got into Kwanzaa, we're all very busy and we've got different lifestyles. I wanted to know, what were you doing before Kwanzaa, before you had that kind of, you know, light bulb moment of actually realizing that you needed to kind of get in tune with the ancestors and get into Kwanzaa fully. So how did that come about?
Well, I first heard about Kwanzaa about 1990. I first went to my celebration of Kwanzaa in 1992. By the maybe the late 1990s, I started to teach about Kwanzaa. Prior to 1990, when I first became aware of Kwanzaa, yeah, I was confused. Culturally, I was confused. Because I didn't have anything in place for who I was as a person of African heritage, I would value and live other people's culture and other people's lifestyle as a means of strengthening who I was as a Black, not African, but as a Black person, because I think the two are different. Black and African, I think, is two different concepts and beliefs. So I didn't really know anything. I went to college in 1989 to study to become a youth worker. I heard of Bob Marley, Winnie, and Nelson Mandela. Those are the 3 people I heard of in history in 1986. By the time I left in 1988, I'd written a book on Africans' contributions to society. Not a book, sorry, my extended study in college was that title. So my knowledge went from knowing 3 people in history to about 30, if not more, by the end of 1988.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, Liz, I just wanted to ask you another really quick question. You know, education is so important. And we talk about there's a kind of crisis within the education system, certainly in this country or European education, and there's not much Black history taught to children in schools anyway. I mean, there's kind of more of a focus now. So do you think that Kwanzaa should be implemented within schools? Is that something that you would think about?
Only by people of African heritage who will live in it and live in the principles and fully understand it. Because what will happen is Kwanzaa and our African history will be watered down to the extent that white people will take over that culture and they will teach on what they think is Kwanzaa rather than what really is Kwanzaa.
It's a part of the curriculum though, also, and all those kind of things. I know there's something that you, please tell us a little bit about today being the 2nd day of Kwanzaa. You can just tell us a little bit about that, please.
There's 2 pronunciations. The American says Kujichagulia, and we say Kujichagulia. The African British say Kujichagulia. Day 2, self-determination is not just about the individual. There's always a triple concept with with Kwanzaa. So self-determination is about myself, my family, and my community. So if I'm going to go away and study to become a doctor, it's not just for Liz to earn like £100,000 a year. It's how Liz can use her medical knowledge on issues affecting people of African heritage to get well. So if diabetes, for example, is the highest known illness within our community, what other additional medicines or practices can we have that's going to help our community specifically? I've got lots of ailments and my white doctor hasn't got a clue with half of them what to do or how to advise me on them. So, and I know there's information out there. So if I was, for example, use the 2nd principle of Kwanzaa and go away and educate myself, is how can I implement that within my family, within my community, to heal my community? And we are a 360-degree people. So we have to look at these things holistically, lifestyle, but
thank you.
I think culturally is very, very important. It's not just lifestyle, it's the cultural things that we need to educate and live by to get well.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That is so deep, you know, because it really is about, it's about a mindset. It's not just about, you know, celebrating outwardly. It's about a mindset. It's about internalizing it as well. So what you've said really resonates.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Before we have a look at some of your arts and crafts, the things that you do, please tell us, or please let everyone else know how they may get in contact with you. And we're going to say thank you so much for being a part of I See You See Me, a Kwanzaa celebration for December 2020. How may people get in contact with you, Liz?
I'm on Instagram, Kamara, Kamr, hold on, I forget how to spell it, Kamara, Kamara Cards and Gifts. So it's Kamara _ cards _ gifts with an S on the end. Yeah.
And I encourage you to put that in the talk, obviously. And people out there, please give us thumbs up, give us some lightning, give us some fire, give us some hearts. Let us know that you're there, where you actually are tuning in from all over the world. We want to thank those who most definitely have been tuning in with us from the States and other parts of the world. Thank you very, very much.
Absolutely. And also, guys, don't forget, please donate, no matter how small, whatever you can, because it all goes towards us building this and, you know, developing and being a much, much bigger and much more progressive. So that's what we want to do. We want to build in our community. So whatever you can donate goes towards a really good cause. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Liz.
Thank you, Liz.
What we're going to see now, and also who we're going to speak to, a group of people. We've got 3 individuals from this group, Zalika dancers. Now, they're not just a group of dancers. There's so much more. Now, I'm not going to go on about it. I want you to understand. Please have a look. We're going to speak with their vice president and other members of the sorry,
Tongue-tied.
Yeah, of the association. So, do we have Liz? Sorry, do we have Stella there with us?
Hello.
Hello, Stella.
Hello.
Ralph. Amiloa.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
Greetings.
Greetings.
Thank you so much. Stella, how are you there?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm very fine. Yeah.
Stella, now tell us your full title, and you're the vice president of what exactly?
So I'm the vice president of Ziloka, which is an association of traditional drums and dance and culture in general from the French-speaking islands of the Caribbean.
And that island is Guadeloupe?
So it's Guadeloupe, it's Martinique, can be Haiti as well. So we represent all the French-speaking islands.
As a group of dancers, collectively, the members, they're not only just dance or just play the drum, they interact. Would that be correct?
Yeah, you can. I mean, when you are part of the association, you can learn either the drums or the dance. We sing as well because we have traditional songs that goes with the drums and dance. So yeah, it's we try to to live and to pass on all the cultural aspect of our islands.
Thank you. I've got one question for yourself there, one of your members there, Ralph.
Yes, hi.
I understand your music may sound like something that we've heard before, but it isn't. It may look like something that we've heard before, but is not. It's got its own unique part in the story and in the language that you tell within the dance movements. Can you tell me a little bit about that from the differences that we may see, and obviously from the differences we may hear?
Yeah, I mean, you spoke. We spoke about another type of a traditional music that we find in the Caribbean called quadrille. So this, the main comparison on this is that obviously they are both born in the Caribbean during the transatlantic slave trade, 18th century. Quadrille can be found all through the Caribbean, so in Jamaica, St. Lucia, Dominica, Martinique, and Guadeloupe. But guoka is one of the rhythms that we practice. Is mainly found in Guadeloupe. and obviously I can't talk about the quadrille community because I'm not a specialist about this, but from an observatory point of view, I can see that quadrille is mainly pre-choreographed, and it involves dance couples, like at least one or two or three or four couples, and the Gurkha in its original form is a solo dance. We based on 7 different rhythms, and on this rhythm we have drummers that keep the rhythm, and then there's a drummer that's actually do a lot more of what we call a freestyle. So in a nutshell, if I have to, obviously I can't go on about this for a long time. You will take a thesis to compare both dances, but in a nutshell, I would say that quadrille will have more of a European kind of influence because it's pre-choreographed, and I would say that Gurkha's got more of a Western African, a stronger Western African influence because of his structural improvisation.
With that, can you tell me of its importance, please, Ralph?
Pardon?
Would you tell me of its importance? Why is it important to maintain this this way of dance? Why is it important to maintain this story, this history, your story? Why is it important that you still continue with this, knowing that? Why do you do it?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that because, as you said, it's part of our history, and using music and dance is not something that started or ended with the slave trade. As Black people, we always use music and dance to celebrate, good time, and also mourning, pain, suffering, sorrow, joy, celebration is something that we do. So Gurkha is a tool for us, is a way for us to do this, and it brings people together.
Thank you very much. I'm going to ask Maloa, are you there with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you very much, Maloa. Another one of the members of Ziloka. Now, I understand that there were 3 types of drums, but within that, there are also principles that go with the terms that you use and the dance. Would you explain that, or give me much more of an example? There were 7, is that correct? 3 drums and there were still 7 principles?
Yeah. So it's 3 drum, one male one that set the base of the song. Then there is the marker, I would say, that will do the freestyle. But then the rhythm, there is 7 rhythm with different 7 rhythm that express different feelings and that help us communicate different things, basically. Yeah. So we got the rhythms for the joy and the party, like Mende, Tumblak. Tumblak is also sensuality and the dance of love. We got the Graj, which is a more slow one that remember us about the suffering in the field and all the work. Another one that remember about the work is also the Pajamber. That is another rhythm. And we got also the levels who communicate about the war. And in the dance, you can see how mainly the men are pretending to fight and things like that. So the steps looks like they're fighting. So it's really different rhythms, all and each to represent and to express a different feeling.
Thank you very much. Now, with that, what I understand is obviously the 7 principles that they have, which is very similar.
Similar to,
and it reminds me, obviously, to Kwanzaa,
yeah, absolutely.
And 7 being quite a unique number within itself.
Yeah.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much, Maloa and Ralph. Now, Stella, I'm going to ask you to, as we wrap it up here, so to speak, within the time that we have with you, can you tell me a little bit more about the organization? I know it's history, but obviously, where can we, or when times are different, where is it that you would ordinarily rehearse, and what type of workshops and so forth have you been doing before we're at such a place right now, as we are right now?
Yeah, so the association gather both people from Guadeloupe and Martinique who wants to, for us, it's a way to connect with our culture, being far away from our island. So if we are in London, it's a way to connect together through culture, but it's also for people who wants to learn more about Gрока from Guadeloupe or Belay from Martinique or the culture from the French Caribbean. So we have a regular rehearsal in Brixton, usually once a week, where we practice drums and dance. And we also have maybe once a quarter, we have workshops where people can come and try the dance and the music with us and then join us if they want to. We also perform sometimes in festival or private events. So yeah, we have different celebration or events going on during the year.
That's fantastic, Stella. I mean, there's so much that you guys do. What I wanted to ask very quickly is what response do you get from particularly young people when you're going into places to teach them about the drums?
Yeah, I think young people, they are fascinating about drums. Yeah, mostly about drums because, yeah, I think it developed different sense to them. And that's a work that we like doing because, yeah, we have to work with young people as well and try to transmit, you know, our culture, even whether it's to people from the Caribbean or people from other, you know, background. So yeah, that's something that we like doing, welcoming the younger with us. And yeah, usually we have a good response from them and they mostly like doing the drums. Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Brilliant, great question. Galina, Manoa.
Stella, Ralph, and Manoa.
Galina, hi.
I was paying attention. I was listening.
So I get paid. Thank you very, very much for being a part of ICUCME. Thank you very much for joining us. And we're now going to have a look at a great video that's going to show us your work and it's going to show us you enjoying yourselves, most certainly. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy Zalika, drum and dance dancers from Guadeloupe.
Right now, we are about to bring you a taste of Tumblak, rhythm for joy and celebration. Tumblak, come on! And now, the Mende. The Mende for rebellion and freedom. Let's go, Mende!
Thank you. Wow, that was exciting.
Really exciting.
Really exciting.
Yeah.
I saw you moving there.
I love dance. I was just dancing away, moving away. You guys couldn't see me, but I was like jigging away.
Move. That was lovely.
Brilliant.
Thank you so much. So much. Zulika dancers, please look out for them. Often found or previously in Brixton, but look up the information. I know. Yeah. Please put the information in the box for us. Let us know what you think, and feedback is important. We like that.
We do appreciate it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. And I just have one thing that I want to say regarding Kwanzaa. Just we talked a bit about, well, in the interview I did with Bevis, we talked a little bit about the Swahili word derived from Kwanzaa.
We were talking about that.
So basically the Swahili meaning is first harvest, and this is the word for Kwanzaa. Yes. So it's first fruits. Yeah, so typically in Africa and the continent, they're celebrated with the fruits of the harvest. Correct. So that's the kind of starting point.
Also remember, it's not about taking away from whatever faith or tradition. It's not a religious holiday in any way. Yeah. In any way, it's a cultural holiday, so anyone can be a part of it.
Yeah, whatever you celebrate, you can still celebrate Kwanzaa. Whether you celebrate Christmas or whatever, you can still celebrate Kwanzaa because it's cultural. It's cultural. And I think it's important for us.
Yeah, definitely. And as a people, I'm bringing so many messages together. Yeah, that's all right, irrespective of if you're losing your memory. Anyway, so with that said, we've got something that's even more exciting now. Yes. So, would you like to introduce?
Is this?
It is.
The Drum Doctor?
No, it is.
Okay, so this is the Drum Doctor, Omawale. Omawale, are you with us?
Yes, warmest greetings. Thank you so much for inviting me into your program. It's really appreciated.
You look fantastic. I love your dashiki outfit, Omawale. You're very regal and noble.
Oh, thank you. It's actually a rush job. I've just got in from a
fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us. So, Omawale.
Yeah, I'm here.
Great. Omawale, listen, thank you for joining us. You just heard, you may have not, but we just had drums playing from the dance band. And what I wanted to ask, Zulika dancers, and thank you for that correction. And what I wanted to ask you, knowing that you're the Drum Doctor, I wanted to ask you what you thought was the significance of drumming and Kwanzaa, because you know that it's featured in the celebration, the faith of, Feast of Festival. Get my teeth in. The Feast of Festival, which also incorporates poetry, dance, song, poetry. So what's your take on drumming and Kwanzaa? Just kind of briefly.
Yeah, I mean, the kind of relevance that drumming has to Kwanzaa, we go back to what is Kwanzaa. In its essence, Kwanzaa is a harvest festival. I heard you saying before it's non-religious. Harvest festivals are non-religious. They're about gathering the fruits, gathering the vegetables, the first hunt in some cases, the first fish, if you're a coastal people, etc., etc. So that's what it is. And so when we get our new set of food in, it's a time of joy, it's a time of pleasure. And we want to express that pleasure. And we ask ourselves the question, how do we express our pleasure? What instruments do we have? Because music is obviously central to the expression, well, music and dance is central to the expression of pleasure. What instruments do we have? The first instrument is the voice. As we're born, the first instrument used is a voice. But the second instrument is the clapping of the hands, which takes us to the percussion, which then takes us to the drum.
Yes.
And so, and it becomes central to celebrate. And Kwanzaa is a celebration.
Absolutely. I mean, that was brilliant. Thank you so much. I know that we heard you featured on last month's show where you went into more detail about the drums and their significance. And I know you talked a little bit about the feminine and the masculine. And I wanted to know just a little bit more about that. If you can just maybe talk about the significance of, those parts regarding the drum.
Yeah, well, the essence of the feminine and masculine is difficult to put it into a nutshell. But just to give a sense in nature, the rain falls from the sky, it lands into the earth. The rain is masculine. The earth is feminine. And out of the earth comes flora, fauna, life, basically. If you translate that into the human relationship, the man comes with special water. In the right relationship, he gives that water to the woman.
Right.
And out of the woman comes life. So you can see how the principles come together.
Absolutely.
In order to create. And in the drum, those principles, I won't go into the detail of the explanation, but those principles come together in the drum in order to create the sound which comes from the bottom of the drum. It comes out the bottom of the drum. We give birth to the sound inside this drum, and it comes out in much the way that the fruit and food, etc., comes out of the earth.
Lovely.
Nature.
Lovely. Thank you. Listen, thank you so much. I mean, we can get into so much more, but, you know, we are kind of a little bit pushed for time. And what I wanted to also ask you is, I know that you are author of the Pan-Africanism series. So a book, you know, different books on Pan-Africanism. And I thought that, you know, I think that's quite interesting. What kind of got you into writing those series? Just briefly. Because we are short time.
I've been an active Pan-Africanist now for about a quarter of a century. And over that time, it's a period of intense study, non-stop study, as well as activism work. And so you build up stacks of information just through that research. And it seems, you know, I'm 60 now, yeah? So we don't know when I'm going to be going. It seems pointless to just have this information just kind of stored in notes and stuff. And so I've compiled a lot of information, brought it together into book form to make it available to others. And I hope it will be of some use to anybody that takes an interest.
Oh, it is.
Yes, I think it will, because I mean, I think it's valuable information that needs to be passed on. So, you know, congratulations for doing that, because somebody within our community needs to obviously put out the information out there, archive it, and it's really vital that the next generation, well, our generation, the next generation following down, you know, reads this and knows this, because that's really vital. So thank you so much for doing that. But just before you go, Omawale, last month we had somebody call in, a young lady called Yvonne, and she won the competition.
Yay!
So Yvonne, I think we've been trying to get hold of you. We can't. So if you're watching, please get back in touch with ICUUCMe or contact Shida, so we can then give you your books, because you've won, I think, 3 books from the series, from Omawale's Pan-Africanism series.
And they're signed.
And they're signed as well, so that's really great. So please get in touch with us, Yvonne, so we can pass on your prizes to you.
Congratulations. And also we have 3 more books to give away. There'll be further information about that and other prizes from some of our guests, which you have met and you will see today. So please stay tuned with us, because more information about that will be, if not at the end of this show, and also about next month's show and the month after, because we're getting ready for that. Yeah. So with all that said, it's time for, I think we're going to have ourselves a cup of coffee.
We're going to have a break, so you guys can maybe make some sorrel, make some Guinness punch. You know, Guinness punch. But Omawale, thank you so much for taking the time to join us again. We really appreciate it. And we're going to have a short break. Go and get yourself a nice festive drink. It's the festive season. Get a Kwanzaa-related drink. You know, Baileys perhaps. Sorrel. Guinness punch.
Carrot juice.
Carrot juice.
Oh gosh. Oh.
Ginger tea.
Yes, you know. Let's roll the commercials. Thank you very much. We'll see you back. Come and sit down. Make yourself comfortable, because we have a story.
We do.
Story time. Thank you very much. See you in just a moment.
with it.
And we're back. Yes, and you heard all that, you lucky things, you. Well, KG thinks it's going. You think it's going well?
I think it's going really well. I think we're giving them a wealth of information,
right?
And we're imparting a lot of knowledge. So a lot of people who are tuned in who don't know about Kwanzaa, who didn't know,
and
a bit more.
That's the reason why.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the reason why it was a case of let's introduce, because I want to get much more involved in Kwanzaa. You know, I have celebrated Kwanzaa before. And it wasn't so much easy. When I say it wasn't so much easy, it wasn't easy. After I got all my candles, made sure I got some corn, some fruit, and it was finding a place, finding an area to make my altar, and then dedicating, being purposeful, knowing what I was doing and why I was doing it.
Yeah.
Because each day has a purpose.
Absolutely.
There's a reason, so it's that focus upon the day, and that did help. But I'm really impressed in concerns to live. I mean, that's her way of life.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's, that's every day. That's good.
That's really good.
If we all did that, and this is why as a people, and thinking of the economic value, think of the creative value.
Yeah,
these are all words that I'm using in consensus, all parts of.
Absolutely. And there's the family value. I think it's
bring the family together.
Bring the family together, and also imparting information to children as well, and getting them, educating them. So it's really important.
Well, with all that, thank you very much for listening. I'm glad that you can hear us loud and clear. Now, are you sitting comfortably? Because we are going to have ourselves a story, and by the lovely Flavia, your favourite storyteller.
Hi, my name is Flavia, the favourite storyteller. I want to take your imaginations on a journey. Forget the cold, dark December month. It is a Saturday evening in June, and the sun has just started to set. Ade and Tayo, two friends, had decided to take a stroll under the arches along Creekside just by the opening of Halfpenny Hatch. Tayo, tall, bald, and broad-shouldered. Ade, slightly shorter, with shoulder-length locks that he liked to shake around. They were best friends. They'd been friends since primary school, and very rarely did they have a cross word. But if you'd been there this particular evening, you would have heard raised voices. Tayo, with his hands on his hips and his chest pushed out. I deserve more respect than you. I had the courage to leave Crossfields. I went to Warwickshire University and I got myself a first-class medical degree. What have you got? Ade shook his locks. I can't believe you're talking to me like this, Tayo. Let me tell you something. I also have a degree. My degree is in social care, and I got it through the Open University. I worked and studied at the same time. It takes serious discipline to be able to do that. So I think I deserve more respect than you. Tayo hadn't finished. Hands on hip, chest pushed out. And what have you got to show for it? I am a neurosurgeon. I work at the National Hospital in Queen's Square. I can go into any shop I want in Bond Street. I don't have to look at the prices. I just pick up whatever I want. I am a brand man. And did you not see my car? I'm driving the top of the range BMW X7 SUV. You don't even drive. Ade shook his locks again. I can see that we're not going to be able to resolve this dispute by ourselves. This is what I suggest. The next person that enters the arches, we'll get them to be the judge as to who deserves the most respect. What do you think, Tayo? All right. Game is on. As they continued to talk, a young boy entered the arches. He was plugged into his own world, bobbing his head up and down in time to the rhythm of his music. Ade nudged Tayo. Go on, do your best. Ade just smiled and sat back. Tayo put his hands on his hips and his chest pushed out, approached the young man. Young man, my friend and I are in the middle of a dispute as to who deserves the most respect. So we want you to be the judge. I'm going to tell you a bit about myself, and then you decide who the winner is. I am a neurosurgeon with a first-class medical degree, which I got from Warwickshire University. I can go into any shop I want in Bond Street and pick up whatever I want without having to look at the price. I am a brand man. The young boy looked at Tayo and listened. His face was expressionless, really. But Tayo wasn't to be deterred. He puffed up his chest even more. And I drive the top of the range BMW X7 SUV. Don't you think that deserves respect? The young boy just shook his head. Right now, material things don't mean anything to me. My grandmother, she's in hospital at the moment. She's been in hospital for the past 2 weeks. My mother and I are distraught. They're trying to tell us that it's COVID. We don't know if she's going to make it out. So right now, material things can't help my grandmother, not going to make her better. So no, I'm not impressed. Tayo turned away from the young man, feeling totally deflated, and headed towards Ade. Ade approached the young man. Hey, Ricky, how are you? Oh, hello, sir. I'm good, thank you. Could be better, but yeah, I'm good. How's your mum? Mum's fine. She's all right, thank you. Ricky, I'm sorry to hear about your grandmother. I really do hope that she recovers and she's back home soon. Hey, Ricky, isn't it exam results time? Yes, sir. I'm well excited. I think I'm in with a chance. I think I've done quite well. I'm really pleased to hear that, Ricky. As soon as you get your results, let me know how you get on. I will definitely do that, sir. Ricky plugged himself back into his world and started to walk away, bobbing his head up and down in time to the rhythm of the music. Then he stopped. He turned and he headed back towards Ade. He said, "Sir, I just want to say thank you so much for all that you've done for me. I don't know where I'd be without you right now. If it wasn't for you, I may not even have sat my exams. You kept me on the straight and narrow. Just thank you. I could have been in prison now. You supported me and my mum when we needed you the most. So you deserve enough respect." Ricky lifted his hand towards Ade and gave him a high five. Ricky plugged himself back into his musical world, turned and headed away under the arches, nodding his head up and down in time to the rhythm of his music. Tayo, hands on hip, chest pushed out, came running over to Ade. "Why is it that you were able to get his respect and I couldn't?" Ade explained, "I know that young man. I mentored him at school. He was heading in the wrong direction and I was able to turn him around. And now he's really excited about getting some good exam results." Tayo, have you forgotten what it was like for you when you were at school? Somebody mentored you and put you on the path to make you the doctor that you are today. I still work down at that school and I do workshops. Why don't you come down one day and share your life experience? You never know, there might be a young student sitting there who has aspirations to be a doctor and you could just set him on the right path. What do you say? And Tayo, hands on his hips and his chest not so puffed up, said, "Ade, I'd forgotten that I didn't get to where I am on my own, that I had a mentor that helped me. Of course, I'll be more than happy to come down to the school and take part in one of your workshops for you. And hopefully put a young doctor on the right path." Ade shook his locks again and smiled and said, "Oh, I'm so pleased to hear you say that, because respect comes from serving the community." Ade and Tayo, they both laughed and exhaled. And they continued their stroll under the arches along Creekside, heading towards the Halfpenny Hatch. And they both lived happily ever after. My name is Flavia, the favourite storyteller.
Wasn't that fantastic?
Hey!
I told you, didn't I?
I love it.
That was
Flavia. That was
Flavia.
Flavia. That was absolutely brilliant. You know what? I want to ask Flavia something.
Are you there?
Are you there, Flavia?
I know you're here with us.
Hi, Shida. Hi,
hello, darling.
Hey! Listen, that was fantastic. Thank you so much. It was brilliant. I was so engrossed in this story. And it's so nice to hear a story with Black positive role models for children to kind of aspire to look up to. It was fantastic. Thank you so much.
Thank you. My pleasure.
And I wanted to ask you, Flavia, do you remember Play School? Certain people of a certain age would remember Play School with Florella Benjamin.
I can't remember Play School.
Looking through the yellow window, looking through the circle window.
My time.
I think you remember. But I have to say that, Flavia, you so reminded me of Florella Benjamin. Your style of storytelling was absolutely captivating. What was your inspiration for actually becoming a storyteller?
Oh, gosh. Well, I started off with legal experience, 30 years in that field. And I was studying as well, Open University, doing creative writing. And I would share the stories that I'd written with my co-workers. And they just couldn't wait until I came back with my next story. What are you going to be talking about next, Flavia? So that's how I started to realize that, people kind of enjoyed some of my stories. And it grew and developed from there.
Lovely.
Fantastic. I mean, really good stories.
And you're more than just a storyteller. There are other attributes that you have. Please tell us a little bit about that. And I believe you're also part of an ensemble?
I am. Well, firstly, I am a professional redcoat. And I was trained by a gentleman called Reuben Lynch, and he's the first Black UK Toastmaster. So I had the privilege of being trained by him. So that is something that I thoroughly enjoy. That sort of helped me with my speaking, obviously. And I'm also part of the Griot ensemble. And that, I believe, has helped to take my storytelling to another level. The story that I shared with you today was actually an ancient African fable, which I converted to a modern day story. So yeah, that's what I do as well.
Thank you
so brilliant. Much. That's fantastic.
We have every intention of, we'd like to invite you back to ICUCB because we want to have another story.
Yeah, and Flavia, I wanted to ask you. Flavia, I wanted to ask you. So you're a Toastmaster. So what's the difference with the town choirs that ring the bell and say, "Hey ye, hey ye, hey ye"? What you do? Is it at ceremony? Is it like more ceremonial?
Yes, it is. The Toastmaster is the guardian to etiquette and protocol. First impressions count at special events, weddings, book launches, whatever it is. It is the Toastmaster is the gateway between the client and the other service providers of the event.
Right.
Making sure that everybody's in the right place at the right time and that the whole event runs smoothly with a touch of finesse and flair.
Yeah. It reminds me also when I would speak with my mother and somebody would say, "Guess who?" or get, a little bit of susu. But it would all be that story. I was talking with my father even day before yesterday and talking about what happened in the childhood. And we always want to know something that just makes us just settle and find out about ourselves, bring us closer with our friends. And it's lovely to hear a story. And it's lovely as we conversate and communicate with each other in concerns to fables and stories and our story. And that's why I do encourage every one of us to start to write a diary. Do not underestimate the power of writing a diary and also the record that puts within your life and the lives of those around you. So that's a challenge that I have to everyone.
Yes,
actually.
and that's a really good point because I was given a gift actually from my sister-in-law of a really nice notepad.
Right.
And she journals, and she said to me, you should think about journaling, or continuing to write. So mentioning that about journaling and writing our stories is really, really important.
It is important.
It's a really good idea. Yeah.
It is. Flavia, we want to say thank you very much.
My pleasure.
For being with us today, and certainly look forward to seeing you again and hearing another one of your stories from our favourite storyteller.
Thank you, Flavia. It was brilliant. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Wow.
Brilliant.
It's not over.
No, it's not over. No.
Thank you for your patience. We still have 2 more guests to introduce to you. And before we do introduce our next guest, our last guest, without saying that person's name, has got so much more, so much information, and really encapsulates and brings together a part of all the principles and a part of all that we can do. Okay, right. So you've got my phone there? Yeah. Too much fun.
So guys, we want to also talk a little bit about the 7 principles. We've kind of started doing that, and what's going to happen is now we're going to have like a kind of call and response with Sheeda and myself.
Right now, after we do that later.
No, we're going to do it just very briefly now.
Okay.
So you're going to do the I'm going to do the Swahili, and you're going to do the English version.
Okay.
So we can do maybe 2 or 3.
Okay.
So so I'm going to say umoja.
Unity.
Kujichagulia.
Self-determination.
Ujima.
Collective work and responsibility.
Ujama.
Cooperative economics.
Naya.
Creativity.
Kuumba.
Purpose. No,
Naya is purpose. Kuumba.
Creativity.
And Imani.
Faith.
There you go.
Faith,
so guys, I hope you've written that down.
We'll do that again.
Yeah, we'll do that again towards the end. So
brilliant.
Make notes.
Okay, brilliant. And so now, some music.
Wow.
Without further ado,
absolutely.
Let's find out about what we're going to hear. So we need someone to help us with that, and none other better than Joanne.
Hey.
Okay.
Joanne.
I know you're there.
Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you see me?
Thank you.
Joanne, how are you doing? Long time.
Yes, indeed, KG. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you, sir.
Yeah, and Sheeda, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us. I know you're very busy and doing so much, and let's find out what you are doing.
Well, yeah, well, ever since the lockdown started, like in well, was it late March around then? Well, I started like doing like a regular sort of podcast series called Multiverse. I also do a daily blog article, which goes on my website. And apart from that, I do weekly vlogs, so that's Facebook Live and on Instagram Live also. So apart from IGTV, actually, I mean. And apart from those, there have been lots of projects with companies such as Iroko Theatre Company, Utopia Theatre Company, like some of them devising theatre projects, in some cases like migrating theatre, well, music drama from the stage onto Zoom, and other kind of more similar kind of platforms. I did something for Paddington Central for Black History Month, which was to do with Black composers and Black opera singers. I also have done a couple of like classical song recitals online. Yes, and a lot of other things also.
Wow! Oh my gosh!
Let me get the fan. Let me get the fan.
You are so. We have to find ourselves because all of that. We need the rest. We're exhausted.
No. Well, you know what that really does show is that there are some people who, unfortunately, have life has changed for them differently.
Yeah.
In concerns to work and purpose and opportunity. Yeah. And I believe that what has occurred for those that have put themselves forward is the creating the opportunity and making that themselves available, if not available, and putting them. So congratulations, but most certainly that's quite an extensive list.
That is, absolutely.
So definitely. Yeah, we are in awe of your extensive list.
Oh, I don't know what to say. Oh, shucks, folks.
Number one fan. Now, John, with what you're going to share with us, what are we going to hear? And what, for those that do not know you as a singer, and not just any singer from that point of view, and obviously as a composer, what are we going to hear today and why?
Okay, it's a song called The Power of Asher. And Asher is like, well, it's almost like the equivalent of like amen, but it's something else in the sort of Yoruba sort of cosmology. And you could say it's like wish fulfillment, you know, it's may it be so, Ashe is like may it be so, basically.
Ashe.
And so it's the power of that may it be so when it's put out there, which was based in a myth, on a myth, which I made into like a choral piece about 20 years ago, and which involved like quite an extensive group of performers. It was for something called the Year of the Artist, like at the turn of the millennium, and there was like a group of like people with special needs, mainly of Bengali background, and a group of like children from elsewhere, and then there was a violinist and myself. I composed this piece, and we did it together like as a series of like sort of radio programs, like the development of rehearsing the piece and all of that. But basically, it was all about well, it was a myth about Ashe, this wish fulfillment thing. And I think that is somehow relevant to the idea of Kwanzaa and self-reliance and, well, self-reliance basically. I mean, what else is there to say about it? Yeah, that's what I mean.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, no,
Thank
it
you.
really does tie in,
Yeah,
absolutely.
definitely. I think what will be will be. And without further ado, I want to say thank you very much for sharing your time, your talents, all your efforts. I want to encourage everyone, please search and look for all those guests that we've had today. And if you would like further information, they are avidly putting their information down there for you so you can look them up and get further information.
Absolutely, yeah. And Juwan, it's great that you're doing so much. Please continue the good work. Yeah.
And
Well,
without
thank
further
you.
ado,
Thank you.
And the title to your piece?
Is The Power of Ashe.
The Power of Ashe. Thank
Yeah.
you very much.
All right
The
then.
Power of
So,
Ashe.
thank you. Right.
If I stand when I pray, let's accept that good fortune is mine. If I stand when I pray, let's accept that good fortune is mine. Bimo dere, bimo ure, ire mi kashaida. 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 If I kneel when I pray, let's accept that good fortune is mine. If I kneel when I pray, let's accept that good fortune is mine. Thank you, the power of Hashem. Thank you, the power of Hashem. Thank you, the power of Hashem. Thank you, the power of Hashem.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
What a voice. What a voice. I mean, so talented.
I thoroughly and always enjoy listening.
Yeah.
Always enjoy listening to Juwan. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Very, very much. And thank you for being with us at this time. I hope you're able just to stay with us for maybe a short while. We're all going to give a wave at the end. We've got all our guests there in the green room, and they've been. Are we able to see all of our guests? Should we give a wave right now? Can we see all of our guests? Are we able to do that, Gleena? Everybody?
My fat fingers, like sausages.
Yeah. Sausages, do you want sausages?
Vegan sausage.
Okay, darling. Okay, right. But moving right along, thank you very much. As I was saying, all of our guests that we want to thank all of our guests, most certainly. Bevis,
yes,
that great
Bevis
interview.
Gooden,
yes, yeah. Great interview. And also, excuse me, you spoke of the film that you wanted to introduce.
Yeah, so I talked with Bevis about the film The Black Candle, and it's a really pivotal film if you're kind of interested in Kwanzaa, because it really details all things Kwanzaa related. And it's a really important film to watch this time of the year, not just this time of the year, but I mean, it's Kwanzaa related, but something also to impart more knowledge about Kwanzaa and about our kind of cultural inclusivity. I think it's important. So The Black Candle is on YouTube, I believe, but you Google it, you know.
We're also on YouTube. I see you, you see me.
Yes, we are. I see you, see me.
I see you.
I see you, you see me. Just making sure that you know. Okay. So I see you, you see me, and I see you.
I see you.
Okay, I see you. I see you. So, guys, we really appreciate you joining us and supporting us, and we really encourage that donations, whatever you can give, we really appreciate it, because it goes towards helping us to develop the next show. And we want to make it grow.
In January, and we're ready. January is going to be all about what we're planning to do. Actually, is have it mainly, and if anything, it's just about poets. It's going to be a very nice, simple, open mic night. So, and we'll give you further information. So look out, and if you would like to be a part of ICU, you see me, please contact us, and we most certainly will be in contact with you. So contact us. You can leave your information there. Contact us at poetsomonologues@gmail.com, azawala20 at ymail, and we most certainly will be in contact with you. Thank you very, very much.
Brilliant.
And I've also been told to give you our email address, which is icu1youseeme@gmail.com. I see one, you see me, I see you, you see me. Gmail. Got that right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Don't contact us. Simple.
Also, in concerns to donating and being a part of our show for January, and we want to wish you the best for the new year. Be safe, have your purpose, be of good mind, think of where you're going, why you're here in that sense. And it's how we push ourselves forward, because we've just had ourselves a solstice, haven't we?
Yeah.
Wow, which was brilliant. All the energy that was pinging off all over the place. That was absolutely fantastic. We want to thank you very much, Liz. Thank you very much, Zulika. The Zulika dancers, energy,
brilliant,
bringing out such vibrancy. Absolutely. And we let the story from the French Martinique, the French-speaking languages of the Caribbean, and just the story, especially in concerns to Haiti. Remember that the Haitians were the first revolt come the new year.
Yeah.
So do not underestimate all that's happening at this time. Please seek out, please look, and we're here to help and encourage you do so for yourselves and for us as a community.
Yeah, and I just want to add to that this show isn't just about kind of entertainment; it's education as well. So it's about us trying to educate you,
and ourselves,
and just imparting that information. So we're having a laugh, and it's really friendly and fun. Well, usually we are having a laugh, but it's also about each one teach one. So we're kind of trying to impart information for you that you can then pass on to maybe the younger generation.
Yes.
So it's really important that you guys do stick with us and support us. We really appreciate it.
And it is about, as you say, each one teach one, and that helps us to communicate within that conversation. I also want to give a big thanks to our favourite storyteller. Thank you very, very much. That was lovely.
Yes,
I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was very, very nice. And Joanne there with us. So
very talented.
Yes.
I mean, we have great
and our t-shirts.
Yes.
Our t-shirts.
Remember, you need to buy our t-shirts. I see you, you see me. We always have a fantastic lineup of guests that never changes. The quality and standard is high, and we want to maintain that. So we thank all our guests. And Shida, I think that we should repeat the 7 principles again, just in case anybody missed it.
I'm ready.
Okay. So do you want to do the Swahili and I do the English?
No.
I get the hard part.
That's not hard. I haven't got my tongue wrapped around it.
Okay. All right. So, umoja.
Unity.
Kujigalu. Kujichagulia.
I was and there is a nice kind of.
I got it right and you got it wrong, and now I'm getting it wrong.
Okay.
Okay. So let's repeat that.
Shall I try actually and do the.
Kujichagulia. What does that mean in English?
That is self-determination.
Ujima.
Collective work and responsibility.
Ujama.
Cooperative economics.
Nia.
That's purpose.
Or Naya.
Creativity.
No, I repeated Nia or Naya because I wasn't sure which way it's pronounced, depending on whether you're in the States or England. Kuumba. Just said it.
Purpose.
No.
Creativity.
Yes.
No, Kuumba, that's how Kuumba.
Kuumba. Creativity. And finally, Imani.
Faith.
Faith.
You just kind of relax when you hear faith. It's just, yeah, it's lovely. It's lovely.
And I think it's important because we've had a really tenuous, really stressful year, and a lot of people are looking forward to 2021, moving forward. And as you said before, it's about positivity. So I think, let's bring all of that positive energy and spirit for 2021.
We shall do, with certainty. And, we've just gone through the 7 principles, and our next guest definitely encompasses all of that through her life and work. We're talking about an individual who has exceeded. When I first heard about Sandra Gordon not only runs her own station and an entrepreneur in so many ways, not just, I wouldn't say in comparison to Bevis, but in concern to that female, just her beliefs, the networking, just what she's recently done. But let's find out from the mouth. Let's find out from the person themselves exactly what they have to say about the life and works that they've done so far. So I'd like to introduce you to Sandra Gordon. Sandra, you there with us, please?
Hello. Hi.
Greetings, Sandra. How are you doing?
Good evening. Happy Kwanzaa to everyone.
Happy Kwanzaa. Good to see you.
Yeah, great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you very much. Sandra, I'm going to go right into our questions that we have and just simply ask, what's important to you?
Wow, I think for me, my people play an absolute big part of everything I do. And that's from my family, friends, and also the Black community as well. And this has really kind of led me to invest my time in what I'm really passionate about, equality, justice. And I've been privileged to be able to work for charities that are focused on gender equality. I'm now a director of the Bristol Women in Business Charter, which is all about creating a gender balanced workforce. Also be the former co-chair of the Bristol Racial Commission on Race Equality. So, I'm living out the things that I'm really, really passionate about. So I feel really fortunate, to be honest.
Excuse me. And within that really encompasses Ujima, part of the beginning, that unity, what as I said, it's incredible. And without further ado, or as we find out more about what it is that you do, Sandra knows her worth. She understands her value. She knows how good she is, where she's come from, exactly where she's going. She takes chances, and it's all about the here and now and going forward. So I'm going to ask, what does drive you besides just loving what you do? What drives you?
Oh, wow. I think self-determination is definitely one of the kind of key principles for me. And I know that I get my strong values and that resilience from my mother, who was part of the Federation. They came here, they can't, they left the world that they were familiar with and they knew to come to the unknown. And it was for, to better their lives and the lives of their families, whether in the UK or in the Caribbean or wherever they came from. And, when they came here, they faced so much adversity and they didn't give up. They kept on going and they worked collectively to support each other. When we look back at that generation, you see that strong determination. And I see that I have that kind of level of self-determination. Like you mentioned, my value is one of the things that drive me. It keeps me focused and trusting your instinct as well and taking risks. I think sometimes we get presented with opportunities, but we don't always take them. Sometimes we're afraid to take them. And they're the doors that can open for us. They're the ones that can give us all the possibilities that perhaps we never thought that we could do. And I think we all have a massive purpose in terms of our life. And one of the challenges is perhaps recognizing sometimes that we happen to be living our purpose. I think there are a lot of people that are always searching for their purpose and never quite feeling as if they found it. but sometimes you're just doing it. And I think you just need to acknowledge that you're actually living it.
Now, within that work and responsibility, you are a presenter also on Ujima Radio, based in Bristol. What has been the feeling, or how do you feel being that Black voice? How important is it to you being that voice, or having that voice on such an airwave, such a platform?
Yeah, Ujima, as you guys have already said, it represents collective work and responsibility, and to build and maintain our community together, and to make our brothers and sisters' problems our problems, and to solve them together. And I think that's what Ujima is all about. And it's vital for us that we tell our own narrative and we create a platform to be able to do it. Community radio stations, they are key in doing that. And we've seen that our achievements are often not recognized as a community. Lots of times our what we do is being distorted, or it's been missing in terms of history. But I'm proud to say that Ujima Radio in Bristol, for the last 12 years, we've provided that platform for our collective voices to be heard, as well as offering training and progression for our community within the media industry. It's vital, and there's so many community radio stations up and down the country that are doing exactly what we're doing right here in Bristol. It's key.
Yes.
I think now more than ever, we have to tell our own story.
Definitely.
Absolutely. And Sandra, it's interesting what you're saying, because you're kind of encompassing all of the 7 principles in what you do, and I think that's really important.
Exactly.
And one thing that I wanted to ask you is, what has been your experience with working with other people outside of our community?
Outside of our community?
Yeah.
Working with others.
Yeah. I think especially working with others, especially within our communities, I've been fortunate that I've been able to work with lots of like-minded people. And one of my areas, with my creative hat on, I work with a few artisans in Ghana to produce jewelry, leather bags, hand-printed fabrics. And, I do that collectively. I started trying to learn how to make my own jewelry, and I realized how skilled it is to be a silversmith. And I thought, why do it when I can work collectively with someone who's, far more skilled than me to be able to do it? I have the connections outside of Africa. Why not, pool your resources together and support each other? One of my social enterprise, Rise, and that was through a chance meeting in a green room of a Sky comedy, led me to meeting my co-founder. And at the time, we were kind of just talking about how the lack of visibility of Black businesses on our high streets. And we had that conversation. Now we called back onto set. And now maybe 6 weeks later, I bumped into her again in the gym. We were both, at the same gym. We had the same conversation. And out of that, we decided we're not going to moan about it anymore. We're going to do something about it. And Rise rose up out of a conversation from women. And RISE stands for Recognising Individuals' Successes and Efforts. It's a social enterprise to support Black businesses and entrepreneurs, and more importantly as well, recognise what we do. So we do a RISE Awards every year as well, which is about promoting and supporting Black businesses, entrepreneurs, and some of the fantastic work that we do in our community. And also,
yes, so fortunate.
and also,
not underestimate those. I was going to say, do not underestimate those in our midst. And one of the things that I've learned from speaking with you and understanding is that these opportunities come about, and we need so many more doors open for us, and the networking, and just to rise up and step forward and be that person that we want to be in so many different ways. Do not underestimate your own abilities and how that can be done.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask you, Sandra, you've done so much, as I said before, you're very positive, you're very passionate, and being one of our queens within our community, how would you go about inspiring other females? Because I know that lots of our sisters and queens, are very, very clever. They have their own businesses, they have that self-determination. So how would you go about kind of adding to that to inspire more females within our community?
Well, I think when us women, we get together, that we're powerful in terms of what we can do. And a lot of it is about just belief, self-belief and support. And it's about each of us supporting each other. And I think that's important. I'm a great believer in mentoring and supporting, and it's something that we do within RISE as well. We're just starting our RISE to Inspire mentoring program. where we're utilising past winners of our award schemes to mentor people within the community. And within RISE, we also run development programmes for Black women to support them in terms of their businesses or just moving forward. I think collectively we can all do that. Mentoring is key. There's, you know, I can't say enough about mentoring. Just having that support, having someone who believes in you, having someone, as you know, that you can talk to as a sounding board that can help you can be vital. And I think we owe it to ourselves in terms of generation to support the young women that are coming through as well. That's vital. And also obviously our young princes and kings as well. You know, I think collectively as a community, that's the only way we're going to be able to kind of move forward, is just supporting each other, because we have that talent within our community. We just need to share it.
Absolutely.
I've heard you say that before in concerns to mentoring, and it actually makes me think, and in concerns to a light bulb moment, I would like to set about maybe a mentoring system. I don't see what I see you see me can't be doing that. So watch this space. I think mentoring is very important.
Absolutely.
People are gaining new skills. They need to understand where they're going and how they're going to do that. And that's all part of obviously bringing the economic value and opportunities. That brings us to creativity and your creativity. So what I want to ask is, tell me about your passion to create. I know you spoke of the jewelry and obviously RISE, but your passion to create. Tell me a little bit about that, please.
Yeah, you know, that started from an early age. You know, I was always drawing or painting or designing. And that's, you know, at that time I wanted to pursue that as a career, and I got slightly sidetracked, I think, as we do in our careers. Yeah, I thought I'd just do a job for 6 months and stayed there for 20 years, but that's a whole other conversation. But, you know, that creative side has always been inside of me. And it was a trip to Africa. I went and did some voluntary work there that really kind of just started igniting my creativity. Wow, when you go to Africa and the Caribbean, you just marvel of the creativity that you see out there. And especially, you know, I'm really brought into the traditional ways of producing fabric, such as watching, you know, when they're making the kente cloths. When you actually see the weavers there, it's just phenomenal. And mud cloths. I was always very, you know, brought into the traditional ways and making sure that we don't lose those traditional ways. There's far too much kind of, I guess, fake products that are made and sold. And we've got to be careful that we don't lose that traditional way in terms of how we make some of these products, because they, you know, the time and energy and the love that goes into creating some of these items is amazing. We, like I said, and you know, and that was just in a couple of countries within Africa. I'm sure if I had a chance to explore other countries, I'd find lots of other creative ways in terms of how they make things. So yeah, I think that just kind of ignited. I think the flame was always there. It just been dampened for a few years, but yeah, I just love the, you know, making stuff, creating stuff, and watching creatives around me as well.
Definitely. Thank you. You know, I think there is that creative spark within us all, and it's understand one, sometimes to have the time to do that, to make the time to be creative and to find that creative spirit within us. And that's what you're informing us of, and the exploration of that. And even in that creativity, you've recently become a magistrate. So congratulations.
Wow.
You recently become a magistrate and encouraging so many of us register. Just sign up, stand up, just put. Oh, just congratulations!
Brilliant.
Yeah, so proud of you, and thank you. I think thank you should be said there.
Yeah, and Sandra, I wanted to ask you, just going back, you mentioned that you've been to Africa. I wanted to know any particular country in that continent that was more inspirational, or did you take inspiration from different parts of different countries on the continent?
Do you know, I just took inspiration from it all. I wanted to go to South Africa because I had a thing for Nelson Mandela, and I thought I have to go to his homeland, and I just loved it there. Ghana felt a little bit like home. I need to trace my roots to see if I've got some heritage there, because there's something that feels like you know, I'm home when I go to Ghana. Love Ghana. And Kenya, oh, I think just the landscape in Kenya. You know, and I was lucky enough to go through the migration period. So I would say to anyone, if you're going to Kenya, if you can go during the migration period, it's the most amazing thing you'll ever see. Thousands and thousands of zebras, and wildebeest just crossing. It is phenomenal. So I think there's so much more in terms of Africa and so many other places that I want to explore, but you go there and there's a little bit of you in all of it. Yeah.
So very
Gambia,
well put.
yeah. Amazing.
I have one last question for you before we do have to say it's never goodbye. It's just for now.
So long, but never goodbye.
Never goodbye. Are you religious?
Yeah, I was brought up in a Christian home with Christian values, which are very important to me. But there's also the values that were instilled by my parents. There's some internal values that you have as well. And it's that thing about believing in yourself and your ability and following your instincts. I feel there is some kind of power within me to do that and drive me to do all these various things. Because sometimes I look at the things I do and I sometimes wonder how I manage, to be honest. But there's an internal power that kind of drives me and pushes me. And it is having that faith in yourself. And I think that's so important because so many people have lost the faith in themselves, and that just stops you from being the best that you can be. So it's a mixture, and I'm grateful for how I was brought up and the values that were instilled in me.
Thank you. Yeah. I hear within obviously your faith and that push through and the tenacity and the examples and the praise that you give to your parents. So respect to that, and I want to say thank you very much from both of us.
Absolutely.
The whole ICUCME team for being with us today. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Sandra.
Sandra Gordon, entrepreneur, so much more.
Thank you.
Thank you. Well, I know we're wrapping up. From the point of view, I want to say thank you very much for your patience. For all of you that have been with this has been quite a special Kwanzaa celebration.
And it's been even more special because I'm here.
Yes.
So it's doubly special.
Right. So moving right to No, thank you. Thank you very much, KG, for joining.
Thank you, Sheila,
for joining us. And I do hope that there will be a time again will you come and join us and possibly share the stage. But anyway, how has it been for you today? Let me ask you that.
It's been fantastic. It's been really nice co-hosting with you.
Thank you.
Because you're very professional.
Thank you.
And at times you can be funny. Not always, just lots of times. There are slithers of, comedic genius. But no, I mean, it's been brilliant. And it's been really nice learning more about Kwanzaa and getting behind the 7 principles. And just being able to share with the community. I think that's the most important thing.
That's what I've learned through all the research, because we have been delving into what exactly is Kwanzaa, the colours, making sure that we've got all the things for the altar, and so that you can see what we've learned, but more importantly, the people that live the life of Kwanzaa and how they put it. And we all put it in our lives in different ways, but we sometimes just don't know it. So we want to encourage every single one of you, tell a friend, and their friend, and Auntie Jean, and my cousin, and my nephew, to come along. One, visit ICUCME. Also get your ICUCME t-shirt and make sure and donate, please. We would most certainly appreciate that. And we are very grateful for donations and that little bit more. It helps. Be with us next month. I think we'll have a word from you, then we'll have a word from me, and then maybe we'll see the t-shirts and we're going to sign off. So what would you like to say?
I'd like to say thank you so much, everybody, for supporting and for watching and for staying tuned. And as Sheila said before, please pass on the word, because we really want to develop as much as we can, and getting as many people involved is so important. So thank you so much.
I see you, you see me. There's going to be another special next year. Yeah, that's what I got to say. Thank you very much, and happy Kwanzaa. Oh, what is the word collectively? What was it? Here's our word. Here's our word. I got it right here. I got it right. Okay, did I put ourselves on the spot?
Bear with us.
No, that's not right. That is so out of place.
Okay, so there's another way of saying Kwanzaa, and it's Kwanzaa Yenu Iwi Na Heri, which is Happy Kwanzaa.
Yeah, that's what we were trying to look for.
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Oh, and bye from everybody in the green room.
Thank you, guys.
Everyone get the wave. There we go. Can we see that? Thank you. Great show. Brilliant. Thank you. Can we see everybody there? There we go. Da, da, da. Enjoy. Love, life, and laughter. The story so far. Being Black is all about ICUCME. Oh.